I decided to, uh, I decided that we were gonna do the veggie stir fry with what am I doing? Turkey sausage, well, like turkey smoked sausage. So not so heavy, but still full of flavor. And I have got, let's see, can we switch cameras? There we go. So you can see I'm still cutting up my peppers, but I've got carrots and mushroom. I know everyone can't eat mushroom, but overseer likes mushrooms. I don't like to eat them, but I like the flavor that they do put in food. And zucchini, broccoli. Here's my turkey smoked sausage and my yellow squash. I also have got red onion that I'm going to cut up a little bit of that in just a moment with this, but my multicolored peppers, which I'm still working on, it won't take me but a second. So I just always like to buy the bag of the mini peppers. It costs about $3-4, but I use them in a lot of everything. So one of my things to do was to, traditionally growing up in the South and being African American in the South, and y'all know how it goes. Like our answer for everything is bell pepper, celery, and onion, right?
G, is that, are those carrots, are they cooked at all?
They are not. Everything is completely raw right now. So I'm primarily steaming all of this. So I personally don't like it when we overcook. Like you know how it is when you make squash or something like that. We kind of overcook it and loses its density. Well, I want to say it gets a little soft and soggy. So this is, for the most part, it's a little, I'm gonna say it's a little over steamed, but not too over. Because I still like for it to remain firm. But but they are raw. Now I love Aldi. I got all of this from Aldi, with the exception of the squash and zucchini, because when you go to Aldi, they want you to buy a whole 3-pack of zucchini. But when I look, Mr. Director. I apologize. But so I like to go to Aldi because I feel like they had a better deal, and honestly, like the vegetables are always much fresher and they cost less. So so I got everything from Aldi with the exception of my squash and zucchini, because at the other stores you can buy an individual pieces of the squash and zucchini versus a whole pack, and Aldi has like a 3-pack of each that we end up throwing one of them away because it goes bad. But so everything else I got from Aldi. We'll also need some olive oil. We're going to use a little bit of water. And my favorite thing, like we've been talking about seasoning, right? Salt and pepper. Well, salt and pepper's cool, but there's so much more out there than just salt and pepper. So we talked about this before.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question. Have you ever used anything other than olive oil, like grapeseed oil or anything like that?
I have not personally, but that's just my thing. I think you can use whatever oil will work for you. It doesn't stop. I have a friend. Go ahead.
I was going to say grapeseed oil, if you're doing a high temperature type of frying, is supposedly good for that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that this is high temperature, so I'm not sure. I've never used grapeseed oil myself. I have a friend of mine who said that that's what she prefers to use on most of the stuff that she cooks, but I've never used it myself. I don't have any experience.
And in that small bowl, that's bell pepper, red pepper, and yellow pepper, bell pepper?
I don't have bell pepper. It's just red, yellow, and orange.
Oh.
And I'm getting ready to chop up a little bit of red onion and mix in with this. So yeah, so the fresh carrots, mushroom, zucchinis, yellow squash, broccoli, and then the mixture of colored peppers along with red onion. So I think one of the things that we have to also realize is that we don't like change, but change is always usually good. So we just have to do things differently. And if it's like, so like in Mother Trout's case, I know what's going to happen. The people in her household are going to look at it strange and be like, what? But my thoughts are, you're the one that's cooking and they'll eat if they want to eat. So, and that's kind of how I feel about everybody's household,
Everybody but grandmother.
Well, we can
Yeah,
reduce
right,
it.
she just, yeah,
She might like this though. Grandmother likes vegetables, so who knows?
yeah,
Um,
we'll see.
but I just say pull it on them one day and just see. And so my thing with the protein portion of it is that we've also done this before with chicken. I have gotten a little thing of those what is it? Tyson does that if you just want to do it quickly. But if you want to do fresh chicken, then hey, you know, just take a little longer to cook your chicken. But it's in the little cubes. I forget what they call it on the bag. Um, it's not shredded, but the ones in the little squares, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, in the frozen section. So I've used the Tyson chicken before. So if you want to use chicken, I have a friend who is a red meat eater, and I know he does a stir fry that looks really good. You know how you can do the shaved beef and it looks like it's in little beef chips, so not the chunks that you would normally use for, I know you want to get this. Okay. Not the chunks that you would normally use for beef or whatever, but just kind of like the little chip beef looking beef. You can use that as well. But I like this. I like the smoked sausage because most of the time smoked sausage is somewhat pre-cooked and you don't have to cook it all over again. Who's got a mute? It's noisy. I hear it.
I'm getting some background noise or static or something.
Isn't it? No. Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, so I have put my onion in with the bell peppers. And there's a reason I do this is because the first thing we're gonna cook, the first thing we're gonna put in first is the carrots and the broccoli. We know the carrots and broccoli take a little bit longer to cook, and the rest of this stuff will cook in like seconds or minutes. But I do the carrots and the broccoli first. So, but I've got my mixture of onion and the tricolor peppers. That's what I was trying to say earlier. And I was like, wait, not mixed pepper, tricolor peppers and my red onion. Come over here. You see? See? Isn't that pretty?
So you have to use red onion?
I have red onion. I mean, of course, you can use white or yellow, but I
Okay.
like red because red actually has a little bit more. They say it's sweet, but I think it's just kind of toned down. I don't know.
Okay.
But I like red onion more because it's more of a sweet onion, and you don't taste the sweetness in the meal, but it helps to balance out the acidic part of the other stuff to have a little bit of thing. Yeah, me too. So yeah, so red onion, and it makes it look good. You wanna cook something that you want to put in your mouth, right? So I'm turning on some medium heat over here. Now I'm also from the South and I'm a Black person and I don't measure stuff, so I'm just saying. So y'all gotta be sure, like, you know, just kind of up to you as to how you and then how much you're making, you know. I would like that, you know, I try to cook sometimes, most of the time I try to cook something like this and we'll have it left over tomorrow for lunch or something like that. So, but I've got my Mrs. Dash. So I had bought this today. Now I like the bigger bottles, but they've been out of them, so I'm gonna have to order it online. But Mrs. Dash, this is the garlic and herb one. Here's my original in the yellow. And then my favorite thing that we get from Elder Cindy, and I gotta order some more if she don't mind, is our seasoning for all things. This one is from Imperfect Foods, so you have to order it or get you a hookup like we got from Elder Cindy. So, you know, just slide her some change and she'll buy something for you. But I really, really like this on vegetables. I use this in my collard greens too. But my big ones are the garlic, and there's an onion and herb version of this for Mrs. Dash as well. So onion and herb, garlic and herb original, and Mrs. Dash also has what they call the table blend. I don't use the table blend on just anything, and I'm this person too. I'm a sensory person, so I'm always, do I want this in this? Okay, let me see. Do I want it in there? So I smell my seasoning because I want to know whether or not, like sometimes I feel like everything doesn't necessarily need garlic in it. So I won't use the garlic and herb, I use the onion. But in this case, I want a little bit of garlic taste because I'm also putting fresh onion in here. So I'm not necessarily gonna use the onion flavor, Mrs. Dash, because then I might get an onion overkill and I don't really want that. So, and I think that is one of the things that we can concentrate on is realizing that flavor comes in different, flavor comes, we just want to increase our palate. My new thing that I bought, I've been wanting it for months. They can't keep it on the shelves in the store. So I ordered it online through Amazon. I don't know if any of y'all have heard me talk about Tabitha Brown. I love me some Tabitha Brown. Miss Tab is the answer for everything. She is a beautiful Black woman who is doing all sorts of stuff. But this actually is made by McCormick's and it's called Sunshine. And hers is really good. Gotta smell it again. What this is good for, if you decide not to do the smoked sausage thing like I have, if you decide to do your chicken, or let's say you want to do fish. I can do this in fish? Yes, absolutely, you can do this in fish. So just like you would stove cook your fish, I don't mean fried fish, saute it on top, okay? Or maybe even bake. But this is great for the meats. Like I'm not a big fan of just putting it on the vegetables, but actually kind of seasoning your meat with it. So it's called Sunshine by McCormick's. You might see it in your stores, but they can't keep it out here, so I got it from Amazon. But it's really good too. So just a little tidbit about seasoning. And one other thing for those of us who are local, we had done this yesterday. I'd have been like, okay, 314 all day long. But this is Four Hens Creole seasoning. So my sorority sisters have opened up a restaurant called Simply Delicious downtown, and they have a place in the Foundry called Four Hens. And Brandy actually sells a seasoning called Four Hens Creole, Four Hens season blend. And honestly, what the majority of it is, honestly, what the majority of it is, what? Oh, I'm sorry. Am I holding it?
Just unclose. I'm gonna take that away, so you stop being distracted by it.
No.
Yes, right.
All right. You know what I'm looking on myself. Okay. But anyway, this is Four Hens, and then Tabitha Brown. Let me show you Tabitha Brown in case you want to see that, get closer. They're gonna Miss Tab on the side. She got a kids show too. But I like those. So I wanted to show those two, even though I'm not using these two today. I just wanted to show us those as options of seasoning blend for you. I'm still gonna use salt and pepper, but just not so much. Especially in my house, because if I don't have some salt in it, my husband ain't gonna eat it. Or either he gonna go turn this upside down and we'll be using them anyway. It's Mother Trout's fault, but I digress. So moving my board out of the way. Again, real simple. I spent more time cutting this stuff up than it will actually take to prepare it. So that's really the thing that's the most is the time I spent on this. So whatever. He says I keep looking at my iPad, so he wants me to stop looking at that. All right. And here's our little salt and pepper shaker. So now guess what? One thing I do want to encourage everybody to do, and I don't know how much this was, but we buy Himalayan sea salt. So I really try not to use regular salt, but we do have Morton sea salt too. I rarely use this, but some stuff you just like, okay, gotta have it. Like potatoes, it's kind of a little harder to season potatoes with Himalayan sea salt. It just takes more of it, and then I think you kind of misjudge. But we use Himalayan sea salt, and I know we get this online from Amazon. I don't know how much this bag is. You know, I don't think it's a whole lot, but that, and I like fresh ground pepper. So we have, always say here too, peppercorns, and we got our own grinders. And he usually uses those, but I like mine a little bit more finely ground up. These are kind of coarse, and I like finely ground ones, so I'll be using these today to do that. And it won't take them a lot at all, right? So again, we're gonna start with a little bit of olive oil. So now somebody who needs the measuring, I'm gonna say we're going to use 1 tablespoon. And I think it's according to your taste. I don't like a lot of oil because I really, again, don't want to lose I don't want to lose the flavor of the food. I want enough so that, oh, it's not gonna stick to the pan and give me a little bit of, a little bit of that. But I also am wanting to put some water in here because we are steaming it, right? We're pretty much steaming it, sauteing it that way. I don't have measurements for the water. It really kind of depends on how much you're cooking and you want to watch it. Just make sure, I mean, like, you don't have to create a puddle of water at the bottom that's gonna stand there, but you want it enough to where you know it's gonna do what it has to do. You do need, now we're using, this is a non-stick pan, pan for us. And if you can see this size of it, but you got like your regular one that's like this size. It's got some stuff in it I want to use. As long as it has a lid, that's really what we're concerned about because we want to create a steam bath basically. So I've got my broccoli. My broccoli's gone in. Here are my carrots. My carrots are gone in. And I love a spatula. I encourage a spatula because y'all scraping up the bottom of your pans and stuff using spoons and forks. So we don't want to do that.
Can you
I don't
do
want- go
this? Can
ahead.
you do this in an electric skillet?
Yeah, definitely. Anything you can control the temperature over.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got that in there. I probably count for like 2 minutes. So I know somebody say, oh, you didn't put anything on it yet. No, I have not yet, because what I don't want to do is over season. So I'm giving it about 2 or 3 minutes to get the broccoli and especially the carrots. Now, I like raw carrots or cooked. So for me, they could be somewhere in between, but it's really just up to you because the rest of this is going to take no time to really cook. If you've done anything with squash and you know how mushrooms are, with squash and zucchini and these peppers and stuff are not going to take long at all. And in my case, with me using the turkey smoked sausage, it's already pre-cooked, so it really won't take me too long. So I give it about 2 or 3 minutes, and I guess we're what, a minute and a half now, something like that. Any questions? Further? Am I going too fast?
So when you put that water in there on the oil, your oil wasn't hot already, right? 'Cause
No,
I'm
I don't want scalding.
Okay,
Yeah, I've got mine on, so, well, I guess this is kind of medium. Yeah, I got it on kind of medium. We got gas stove, so I don't have high, low, high, low, medium, high. But I kind of on medium, and I'm not trying to get it hot. I'm just got it in there for one. Olive oil works well on vegetables, and I don't, it's helping to keep from sticking to anything. I'm stirring around a little bit, making sure that anything that's sitting on top.
So would you say it's less of a stir fry and more of a stir steam? I mean, so serious.
I guess so. Maybe
Fries
so.
are usually high
This
heat.
thing, yeah, and I don't. So my thing of high heat is you really can't be, unless you're a professional cook, like I'm usually doing a couple of other things at the same time. So when you cook on a high heat, you really have to be right there with it. And it takes like no time. So I'm not on a high heat. So maybe it is I just call it a vegetable stir fry. I mean, I'm still stirring it. It's not really fried, but but
I used to I used to watch the guys at Panda Express when they were at SLU, and they don't do a just strictly oil
right,
stir fry of their stuff either.
yeah.
It's oil, but they use almost like a broth,
Yeah, and
but
so I'm glad you brought that up. So that was my other thing too. The recipe that I originally saw that actually had you not just put regular water in it, but actually put a couple of your bouillon cubes and make a broth with it. Or I'm sure that you could just, if you buy broth, you could use that as well. But in my terms for this, I'm trying to decrease the sodium, so I didn't want to make broth with the bouillon cubes. And then I didn't want to buy broth because I'm also trying to keep the fat content down. So I'm just using water and my seasoning for it. so that I don't get too much of those things.
Okay, because I was gonna say, I mean, a true stir fry, I think they also use a little of water or broth as well, so
Absolutely. Absolutely.
it's not a just strictly fried thing.
Yeah.
Um,
And they
yeah,
call it fry, but it's not a fry. And then most of the time they're doing it on a hot grease
Yeah.
or a wok or something like that. So, but
yeah.
so I'm gotten a little bit tender over here, especially with my broccoli. You know how your broccoli does when it gets that green glow from being steamed. So, and my water's down a little bit, so I'm good now. So now I have got my squash. Yes, got my squash next. In we go. And I personally like how you cut it up or whatever. I cut mine up into, when I slice the zucchini and the squash, I do about a 1/4 inch and then I cut it into fourths because I'm a bite-sized person and I like to get a blend. So if I pick it up with my fork, I want a piece of the squash, the zucchini, a piece of meat, maybe with some onion, all in one bite. So I like 1/4 size. And and you want to do an inch, about a 1/4 of an inch when you first slice it up, because you don't want to make it too thin because you need for it to steam. When it's too thin, it cooks faster. And then you got soggy squash and zucchini and everything else is still having to cook more or steam more. So I have all of this in here, and because I'm using this particular one, which I like, this particular pan, couldn't get it out of my mouth. I like it because it's gonna give me more time to cook the other stuff because it's kind of all stacked up a little bit. So I'll bring it over here so y'all can see. I'll switch camera. So, oh, okay. But see, I'm kind of
So
like,
everything is in there except your bell peppers.
I just hadn't gotten to it yet.
Okay.
Yep, everything. There's my squash. There's my zucchini. See how how already your broccoli is turning kind of bright green. And I'm gonna put my bell pepper in now. I wait a little bit later, just a few more minutes afterwards for the mushrooms, because again, we know how mushrooms are. They don't really cook all that fast. I mean, they cook fast, so. But now I'm gonna do, now I'm almost out of the city, so I gotta place the order when I see you. But here's my seasoning for all things. And notice I put a little bit more water in because it kind of cooked down at the bottom. But I got that's all I got left, so we're good. On my season for all things, or in your case, if it's Mrs. Dash, whichever flavor you guys want. You've done that. And I'm stirring around. Now, mind you, in normal cases, if I had put this in the other frying pan with the lid, it'd be a lot easier to stir. But I like this one, the depthness of it, because it stacks it on top of it, and I really get a steam with it. So I am, I wanted some garlic more, so a garlic flavor. So I got my Mrs. Dash garlic and herb. And I'm putting it in here. I love the sound when I pick up the lid. Now, onto my salt. Here's my Himalayan sea salt. And I need some more in here. My Himalayan sea salt. I challenge you to try it. Yes, it costs more than Morton's, but just try it. It's an adjustment. Remember, we talked about change. We gotta make changes, gotta do better. And I guess I should say pink Himalayan sea salt, because I think Himalayan comes in white, is white salt as well.
Excuse me, that's sea salt?
This is Himalayan, this is pink Himalayan sea salt. They sell it at Walmart, Schnucks. We bought this big bag because you know, we use it all the time, so we got that off of Amazon. But they do sell Himalayan sea salt in the stores. So got my grinder salt. I like a fine grind, so.
So you put the seasoning in before you do the peppers?
I did what now?
You put the seasoning in before you add your peppers?
I did. But
Okay,
it's up to you. I mean, again, like I said, I know that those things are not gonna take a long time, but I do have some in there now. Now I'm putting my mushrooms in for the overseer, 'cause I don't care nothing about it. But, and so I also put those in, Deacon, because I know a lot of times we used to use them like, oh, my peppers are part of my seasoning. And if you cut them up thicker, you may want to put them in there earlier, but because I chop mine up in kind of dices, and I know that they're smaller, it won't take as long to cook. So it just, to me, it depends on what size you cut them into. And like a lot of times, the people that like chunky food, you can go ahead and put them in there because it'll take them a little bit longer. But I know that they're smaller. And again, I'm creating, this is like steamed for me versus I'm frying it up. You know, I'm not trying to overcook it, but I want it done enough. You know, I'm not really trying to crunch on the carrots and the broccoli, but it's soft enough to where I still get the flavor of the food.
We lost the video.
we
Is it
can't
just
see
me?
you.
Oh, I think he's playing around with it or something. Can y'all still hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Debbie,
Okay.
you back.
I'm just talking anyway. So, one of the things I think that we tend to do is to overcook our food sometimes, especially our vegetables. In that, oh, they got to be cooked, they got to be done. And vegetables, we lose a lot of the nutrients and the stuff that a lot of our bodies need because we overcook them. So my thoughts are with this, like when we have this, is that we kind of struggle, like Pastor only likes a lot of broccoli. I like broccoli, I like green beans. We both like asparagus. You can actually take asparagus. I think sometimes we're afraid of asparagus. One of the ways that I looked at online, and I got it from Edward. Do you all remember one of the first like times we had a fellowship at the church and Edward came and he brought that, it was like asparagus and something else. And he had cut up the asparagus into just little like 1-inch pieces. And when you think asparagus, most of us think, oh, wash it off, put some olive oil in it, some salt and pepper, and bake it in the oven. That's not the only way that you have to prepare asparagus. So I've actually just chopped it up like he did and sauteed it on the top of the stove. But I also didn't overcook it. I didn't put too much oil. It was a little bit of oil, some water, salt and pepper, and then there you go. But I also mixed ours in with carrots because we eat with our eyes a lot of times. So I put carrots in because it's a bright color. We just have to think differently for stuff that a lot of people have been doing for years and for generations. But when we get into the habit of what's easiest, what I'm familiar with all the time, I like, this is therapeutic a lot for me, and I'm trying to get back to the mode of when I do it more, because even just sitting here, I mean, just standing here when I'm, in here by myself and overseas, working on some other stuff, I'm in my head, believe it or not, even though I'm moving about, I'm praying, I'm talking to God, I'm kind of like in a mobile meditation, that I do that a lot. When I cook. So I really enjoy it. And I've really loved over like the past couple of years of trying new flavors. So when I see a new blend now, I'll buy something new. We have to get out of the what's familiar mode. And we got to stop using our ages as an excuse. I'm too old to change. Oh, I've been doing it for 20 years. And believe me, even though I'm like 49, I'm one of those people too. Like, oh, this is what I grew up doing. And honestly, one of the people that really helped me out was my mom. Like mama she'll be 73 in December, and she's probably the healthiest person I know. So she's the one that got me in my family, she stopped cooking any kind of pork in our greens and stuff like that. Like I actually only use turkey. So we use like a turkey butt or something. You do have to be careful with too much turkey because turkey has a tendency also to have too much sodium in it, which we have to take into consideration. So now how much sodium is going to come out of the turkey butt, and am I putting more salt into it because normally I put salt in my greens? Well, do you really need that much more if you got pork in it or whatever? I'm gonna use some more water. We're gonna do my glass. A little bit more water, just a little. I pour it down the middle because I wanted to hit. I'm not trying to wash all the seasoning off. I didn't put it in black pepper. That's it. All right, missing my pepper. And so I'll say this too, especially if you live in a household where more than one person is eating. So now overseer has to have his salt, and I'm fine with it. But I don't like to over salt stuff, so I will put some in it. But the other reason I like the fine grind time is that because if he has to add some salt, it's not so horrible if it's coarse salt, because you always have it been cooked in there. And with a fine grind of salt, you tend to not overdo it, and it's easier to mix up in your food. So, so I feel like this is one of those things that if you have to add some more salt later, it's not a big deal, because it's a fine grind. So, well, let me show you. Oh, you got a pen.
No, go ahead. I'm coming.
What else gonna bring it? Oh, you bring it over.
Yes,
Oh, just sweet.
to the extent that it'll reach.
Okay. So. Is it on? Oh, my bad. So yeah, so there's our look. It's still cooking and simmering. I really think it kind of depends on you as to how far you want to cook it. I know to some people it's like, oh, that's raw. And in some cases, some of the broccoli is still, whatever. The carrots are going pretty good. But notice that if you can see, my zucchini and my squash are not overcooked yet, and I don't want them to be. You're also getting added flavor. I forgot I was gonna say this earlier. I'm also getting added flavor and more salt from the turkey, the smoked turkey, smoked sausage, the turkey smoked sausage. I'm getting sodium and I'm getting more flavor from that. So those are the things that we have to remember, is that what we're adding to it comes with a lot of sodium in it too. It's like when you make your spaghetti sauce, I'm coming back over here. When you make your spaghetti sauce and tomatoes and things already have sodium in it, especially when you're buying stuff out of the can, the diced tomatoes and all that kind of stuff comes with a level of sodium in it. Now, I'm not one of those people that likes to add sugar to stuff, but I will add honey to my spaghetti sauce in order to cut the acid taste and the salt and stuff. So I use honey instead of sugar when it comes, especially like red sauce type stuff. I made some muscatoli for Overseer and I for Sunday dinner. And I was concerned because I had made it like some weeks ago, and the only thing he had was it was a little dry. And I agree, but that was just because I needed to add more actual sauce to it. It's my first time making it. So I made it this past Sunday, and I have to admit it turned out really good. It had to, because he ate it like it was the last thing on earth. But so, but my thing with the sauce was the tomato-based sauce is I put a little bit of honey. I'm not usually a taster, but I had to taste this. But my colored peppers were in it. I put chopped spinach in it. You can do this in regular spaghetti. It's like, you gonna put spinach in spaghetti? Yes, at every entity that we can. And it costs you what, like $2, maybe $3 to buy a fresh bag of spinach? Oh, that was my other thing too. Please don't buy frozen stuff. Don't buy frozen broccoli. Don't buy frozen carrots. All of that stuff is already going to be mushy because now it's saturated with water. You need to when you make this, you need the fresh stuff. So I have a friend of mine, and he didn't even ask me. He just went out and bought like frozen broccoli, frozen broccoli and stuff. And I was like, dude, no. He sent me a picture of it. And I was like, yeah, you should have bought frozen. But your tricolor peppers, even a bell pepper, I mean, I got bell pepper in the refrigerator too. But in your onions, it's just about creating a flavor palette so that we can all eat a bit better than what we have been. And it takes a little bit more effort. It really is not a whole lot more effort. It's just changing the mentality. And I think we would probably be in better shape than what we are if I would stick to cooking every day. We would do a bit better than that. One of my other things too is that I've thought about this for myself, and we talked about this before in our group, is portion control. We have to learn to stop eating until we're full, but eating until we're content. There's a big difference between I'm full and I'm content. Especially in America, like if you go out in other countries, their portions are totally different than ours, which is why a lot of times you do see places they have they eat 3 courses, but they're eating smaller portions than we are. So they're still able to get their dessert in at the end at every meal and whatnot, but they also are not eating a full-on iron fried steak, baked potatoes, double portion baked potatoes. If you have broccoli on it, then it's smothered in cheese. You know, we just do a lot of extra stuff. And even if we did do that meal, what about just cutting the size of that plate down? So that's one of the things that I'm trying to work on for myself. If you know you're still eating fast food, which I just had some last week, get a medium fry instead of a large. Then cut down to a small. If you're a processed person like that, then let's work on doing that. And then what can I do as a substitute from the stuff that I've been eating? One of the things that I got on keto, and I'm hoping to start that up again, is I now like cauliflower rice, and it's cheap and inexpensive. But I buy the frozen kind from Aldi. You know, that's my store. But Aldi has this garlic and herb. You might want to add a little bit of salt to it. Try the Himalayan sea salt, Mother Trout. Try Himalayan sea salt. I'll buy you some. But you will want to add some little salt to that. And I actually cook mine, believe it or not, in a little bit of margarine and some water again. We're trying to steam cook food and not oversaturate with oil and stuff like that. And one of the things, so like Pastor, and I think he's mentioned this before, we don't even have vegetable oil in our house. We use peanut oil. That will help you too, because that, whether we know it or not, vegetable oil and canola oil cause gastric issues. And for those of us who may already have some problems and things like that, you may want to turn, like Elder mentioned, the grapeseed oil. You may want to try that instead. And when I do use olive oil, we only try to use like a little bit of it and not a whole lot. And honestly, one of the things that we really need to do, fried food needs to be a delicacy because we get in trouble from that. Love our air fryer. Like we finally got the overseer. I finally got him on board. We're not having to fry everything. So we used to have like a thing of grease on the counter, but just like constantly. But now the chicken tenders go in there along with the French fries. And honestly, guess what? You can actually taste the French fry without all of the grease, because the air fryer is an amazing, wonderful invention. I hate that I didn't think of it first, but we use our air fryer a lot. And it's just doing it. And then when you go to the store and make your grocery list, don't buy it. Just don't buy the stuff that, you know, and then you might have a whim, and I have some moments too, like we'll run out and we'll both be like, I just want some potato chips. And it will have been like a stressful day or a long week or whatever. Guess what? I go buy one bag for him and one bag for me, and we probably knock the 2 bags out in a day, but it's done and it's not in the house. And then so the rest of the week, we'll have no chips. So, but it's just a matter of changing what our routine. We don't want to get into a routine that's not healthy, because we're slowly killing ourselves with the way we eat stuff. And then, you know, we end up with a gallbladder issue and things like that. I have my sister-in-law who is younger than I am. She's in her 30s, and she she had to have gallbladder surgery not too long ago. I only think Michelle is 35, but she had gallbladder surgery. But they told her that the way she eats was not great. When she asked about her meal, oh, this smells so good. So now I'm ready to eat. Believe it or not, we're ready to eat because broccoli is steamed, carrots are tender, the meat is smelling wonderful in here, and my mushrooms, well, his mushrooms are good. Now I have some water at the bottom, but guess what? It's a broth now because I have put all of my seasoning in and stuff like that. But there we go, and us ready to eat. And guess what? For me, this is our meal. We're done. We're not gonna add a loaf of bread, 12 rolls to it, and we're not gonna have another side. Like, this is what we're gonna have tonight. And that's the other thing too, is that we have to get out of the mentality that we have to have a meat, a vegetable, and a starch with every single meal. One of the things too, and from an economical standpoint, cooking this way, this meal costs us less than us trying to do a full protein with starches and vegetables, bread to go along with it. You know, if you want to see somebody that's addicted to bread, you know how that can be. But even if you are, just cut down. It's hard to go cold turkey with a lot of things, but just decreasing our amount. If you normally have 2 rolls, I only have 1. But we're done. I turned it off. It's smelling good and wonderful. And yeah, we're gonna eat now. Any questions?
Can you,
Bon appetit.
can you
Voila!
send us a text of a print out?
I am. I'm going to
I appreciate it.
here, I'll both some up and show. But I'm gonna and I apologize I didn't give it sooner, but I also want to make sure that you all didn't go out and buy something and maybe you end up not liking it or something. So, and walk you through it. But it's clean eating. That's what my Uncle Robert would call it. Oh, you clean
Right.
eating today. So yeah, we're clean eating today. Everything is done and tender. And we about to eat. You want to try it?
That
Uncle
looks
Dan,
good.
is that a copper pot there? You got a copper
That
skillet?
is, and I love it.
Mhm.
It's Copper Chef, and actually, it was a Christmas present from grandmother a couple of years ago, and we love it. And we talked about we got to order the frying pan and a couple of other things because we've even bought the nonstick stuff from Target. And it didn't last as long as this Copper Chef stuff does too. But you also have to remember, even when stuff is supposed to be good and nonstick, you can't be stirring the pot with a fork and metal
Right.
spoons. Pots
And you
and
know-
metal forks and spoons scratch up anything that you have. So it takes nothing for us to invest in these little spatulas. I got different sizes.
Yeah.
Use spatulas.
We have one of those pans too, the copper pan,
Yeah,
and that's the only thing that you can stir caramel in and not worry about it burning.
yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
It looks awesome. It looks very like it would filling and stick to your ribs.
and that's what I'm saying. And I made so much of it. Have 2 bowls,
Where is Overseer?
behind the camera. He's trying not to be.
Have him try it. I want to hear what he says.
Oh, he's yeah. He'll eat it. He'll have it.
You know, I'm a salt person, and I know he's a salt person. So if the flavor is doing it for him, then it'll do it for me.
So I will be adding some sea salt to it.
He'll add some more.
But it won't require a lot, but I will be adding some to it.
Yeah,
And that's because we both have different palates, and that's okay.
it's okay. And most of it I think is up here. But because honestly, like me tasting it now mind you, we do have different palates. But like I said, I put some Himalayan sea salt in it, but I also know that the smoked sausage, you know how full of I'm scared to even look at the packet. The smoked sausage has really got a good amount of sodium in it. So but you can do this with chicken. I was trying to think of what is that Tyson chicken in the bag?
But that turkey sausage is better than pork. I always get pork sausage. So,
Yeah,
and cut that up. That sausage is so delicious to me.
it
Okay.
is.
And can't you get like the little fajita, the pre-cooked fajita chicken?
That's what I'm talking about, but I thought, well, they have the fajita, but I use the one with the little squares, not the shredded.
Right.
It's a little, I forget what they call it, but you know what I'm talking about, and any of it will work. Now, I probably wouldn't use the shredded kind, but any of that Tyson in the bag thing, and that stuff is pre-cooked too. Now, I'm not suggesting that we do everything pre-cooked, because we're also talking about, that's got preservatives, all that kind of stuff. We're not gonna hit every, bullet point with some of these, but it's a step in the right direction. Would it be better to cook your chicken fresh? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you have time to do that, then great. Or maybe you have some baked chicken breast that you did in the stove the night before, and all the rest of the meal is gone, but you had some of the chicken left over. Okay, well, chop up the chicken and make you a vegetable stir fry with it. Let me see. What was that? It's this
That
one.
does look good. It looks delicious.
I love my chicken, so.
I know. Nothing wrong with chicken.
Look at him texting in the middle of life class.
No, I'm not. I'm looking for the name of that.
He looking for the name of the chicken.
Yeah, I mean the particular one. It's taking me right to Walmart. The Walmart app. What is that? Oven baked diced chicken. I couldn't think of that for nothing. Okay, so yes, so there's the fajita one that Elder was talking about. They also have the chicken breast, the ready chicken breast. But the one I was talking about was the diced oven roasted chicken. I like that because again, I'm trying to put it in little cube pieces. Excuse me, because when I eat, I like a nice blend of that. But yeah, but I mean, you can make it your own. Maybe you don't. I mean, I know some one of us is allergic to mushrooms and can't have that. But maybe you don't like carrots so much, so don't use the carrots. But you know, whatever hearty vegetable that you know you're really gonna get some good nutrients out of, and voila.
They can do squash, zucchini. Oh, you got that in already. Okay.
Yeah, squash
Okay.
and zucchini. I don't do tomatoes because I'm not a tomato person, and I also don't think that this works well with tomato. That's just me. You know, tomatoes, the great majority of tomato is the just the peel part, but I'm not a big tomato person, and I'm not like the way this tastes for me. I didn't think that tomato was gonna fit well, but that was just me. If you're a tomato person, hey, knock yourself out. With it, just, you know, again, be careful about when you put it in. I just like to start with the vegetables in the beginning that are gonna take a little longer to cook, which was the carrots and the broccoli. So just be conscious of that, like the order that you added in, because if you put the squash and the zucchini in first, it's overcooked by the time the carrots and the broccoli get done. So, but yeah. Any more questions? Cool.
Thank you. This was very good.
Yes, thank you.
No
And you
problem.
are sending this to us, right?
Yes, I'm gonna
Okay,
do a little thinking and I'll post it in the group shortly
Okay.
when we finish eating.
I'm definitely gonna try it. And I'm gonna actually try it with the turkey sausage too.
Yeah, it's good.
That's gonna be a big change for me.
It's
I'm gonna,
good.
I'm gonna try with Mickey. Shoot, you're gonna have a heart attack because it's not McDonald's, so.
Nothing wrong with having McDonald's, we just can't have it all the time. So, yeah, we all trying to make changes, so y'all pray for me as I pray for you. Because we all trying to do something different, so, or something better, let me say that. We know what to do, we just gotta do it, so. But anyway, I think I did cool, almost an hour, yay.
You know, I really hope that we have more of these, that this won't be the only one. Because, you know, it's like, it's good to have, you know, healthy meals, you know,
Absolutely.
give us healthy ideas and how to prepare them and things like that. And
Absolutely. I do.
I agree. I agree.
Well, I'll be glad to do it again. We loop back around whenever, in the class. I mean, because it helps me too. To, you know, to kind of be on top of this. And I assure you, like most of the time, it's gonna be something that's not too hard to make. Like I'm, you know, the prep, like I said, the prep time for it took me more time to actually cut up the vegetables than it did to actually cook, as you can see. So, so we'll try to stick to things.
This camera keeps freezing.
Oh, sorry. But it took me more time to prep it than it did to cook it. And if, you know, if you're one of those people, like I said, for the peppers and the mixed peppers, a lot of times, depending on the ideas that I have or the thoughts that I have of what we're gonna cook that week or eat that week, I'll dice these up on Monday when I make the first meal and put them in some of those little Rubbermaid containers. So my peppers and stuff are already set up. And I use that in some of the stuff that I'm gonna make later in the week. Cause like I'll take this very same stuff plus some bell pepper and use this same mixture in my spaghetti sauce. So if we decide to have spaghetti tomorrow or something, or the day after, I can use the same blend. So, but I kind of chopped them up 2 days ago and it saved me some time. It's just about thinking ahead of it. And I think that's one of the things that we've been dealing with here is not planning out a little bit ahead. Like, okay, well, Wednesday, I'm gonna shoot to have baked chicken and whatever, you know. That's one of the things, because when we make decisions at the last minute, we usually always make the worst choice. You know, because now we're just scrounging to eat so that we don't make the healthiest choice when we scrounge, you know, when we're trying to figure out. But I'm not saying that you gotta like write it down for the week, but have some thought into what it is that you're gonna cook in. Let's get out of the routine of the same stuff. You know, all Friday is pizza and chicken sandwich and fries. I don't like to cook on Friday or Saturday, I'll be honest. But I am trying to get myself to make healthier decisions about it. About those days that I don't cook. So like last night, it was 314 day, and he was like, we want to have local pizza I ordered a salad. I didn't even touch the pizza. I think some of it's still left in the refrigerator, but I ordered their chef salad, and it came piled high with pepperoni, and I guess that was some kind of little, I don't know what that brown meat was. It was good though. But I took half of the cut up pepperoni off of it because I'm like, y'all trying to give a brother a heart attack. This is supposed to be a salad. But I took a good deal of it off and I had Italian dressing on it. And you know how the to-go box is, you know, that's a good size of it. And it was full. I could never say that they skimped me on it. But when I ate that thing, I didn't even want the pizza. I was full. So I just didn't, you know, it's just about making changes and making up in my mind, like, okay, I'm tired of being this size. And you know, and I'm sluggish. I also know for me personally that when I gain extra weight, my left knee gives me problems. He had to pray for my knee the other night. But it's because of my weight gain, because earlier last year when I had lost 16 pounds, I wish that I hadn't gotten off track and kept going. But I lost 16 pounds and I literally could tell the difference in just those 16 pounds. And my knee wasn't bothering me at all. But now it started back to bother me again. So it's, you know, getting the weight off is not just about me trying to be cute, but I also want to be a healthier person. I have more back problems when I weigh more too. Like literally when I get out of the bed and move over, because of the weight of this up front, it's putting strain on my back. It's like women when y'all top heavy, and I have a lot of friends who are top heavy, and they have back problems, you know. So I for more than one reason, I don't want a broke down body. And we're talking about having a kid. I can't keep up with a kid like this. So, you know, I gotta do better. I want to, you know, I'm not like, obviously, I don't quite want to live to be 100, but I'm not trying to go tomorrow either. So I just want us to realize that what we eat is slow. What we eat, and oftentimes the way we eat it, it's slowly killing us, whether we want to. It sounds horrible to say, but it's absolutely true. So we just want to make some changes. I'll be glad to do this again because, like I said, it really helps me, and it's just such a motivator for me. So I hope it is for you too. That we make some changes. Then we can do them economically. I have friends like it's expensive to eat good, and I'm like, it's expensive to eat, period. Because
You sure have some.
you got a question? I'm sorry.
I would not be making fried chicken again for the church.
Yes, you
Yes,
will.
you will, honey. That's a delicacy. Nah, don't make me come to your house. Look, what we said earlier, we didn't say we were never going to eat it again. We just don't want to eat it again. That'll be our delicacy. Don't do that.
Ma'am, look.
That's so good. It really is. See, I got that smoked sausage in there, zucchini, squash, and a piece of onion. Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
I
I'm
think
done.
Terrell had something.
Huh?
I think Terrell had something.
Oh, yes, brother. Deacon Terrell.
Oh, no, I didn't have anything. I'm just enjoying this. I think
good.
it's a good idea to prep all of your food, your vegetables ahead of time, and then you can mix and match and be creative, and you got a healthy meal every day of the week. So I like that.
Absolutely. And you know how, I mean, most of us can judge our vegetables, you know, like I'm not necessarily gonna, depending on the vegetable, by the time Friday rolls around, it may not be something I want to use, you know, if I've already cut it up and it's been here, it's 4 days old. But when it comes to like the peppers and the onions and stuff, that'll last you a couple of days, especially. And that's one of my struggles is that by the time we finish work or something, I don't, you know, taking the time to put the meal together is the encouraging part sometimes. So,
Yeah, when I step in the door, I'm ready to eat. I you know,
right.
I can't be cutting them no vegetables.
Right.
Right. And that's why I said, so you can prep a lot of, but I have done too, where I have cut up the squash and the zucchini the night before or whatever, so that when I get home or when I get off work, I can just throw that in. And honestly, I keep saying this, but between all the, and then like for those of us that are single or we're at home alone, you know, just that one thing of squash, one thing of zucchini even, and chop that up. I mean, for an individual, that's 2 meals really by the time you get one of each of those, the carrots, the broccoli, the mushrooms, the peppers and onions. You know, you eat some that night and take it the next day for work. And I think that's the other part of it too, from now jumping over to the financial piece of it, is are we smart in the way that we buy? and where we buy it from. Like, as much as I love Schnucks, Schnucks is high. And so I really don't go to Schnucks until it's something that I can't find, and then I'll go to Schnucks. But between Aldi and Walmart, we pretty much get everything that we need. And and oftentimes Aldi has the fresher vegetables, in my experience. But you know, where we're buying our food from, and then what we're actually buying. And so if the first thing you do is go to the frozen section and everything is the processed food and all of that adds up, where I could go and buy what I just bought tonight. I don't even think I didn't spend $20. And we each can eat 4 bowls out of this versus us driving down the street to a fast food place, Chick-fil-A, Culver's, whatever. We spend $25 to $28 between the two of us eating. Now you do that 3 days out of the week. You spend almost $100, and on 2 meals right here, I spend less than 20. So you know, where's our money going with this? And people say food is higher, but it's still less expensive to eat at home. It really is. So,
I like the idea of the seasoning. That's where I get stuck. Is it like what kind of season? I always have salt, pepper, seasoning salt, garlic pepper, garlic powder, onion powder.
And we have all of that
you
too.
know.
And we have garlic and onion powder too. Don't get me wrong, it's not that we don't use those. We even have cumin. I've got one of my favorite spicy ones is Slap Your Mama.
Creole.
And we use dry parsley again. So this was I'll have to I can't put it in, I'm not in the group. But I took a picture of the muscatoli I made the other night. But one of the things that I don't know if you can see, but I got parsley on top of it. Don't it look good?
Yeah, it does.
But it's got dried parsley on top of it. But I also put this in a number of things that have red sauce or whatnot. But yeah, I use different things, Elder Marsha. And you really, honestly, I challenge you to smell your seasoning. Because everything like this sunshine stuff by Tabitha Brown, I know that doesn't go on everything, and this wouldn't have worked well in this dish for me. But I figure out things that do. This is my this one from Four Hens. You can see the back of it. It's basically it's Lowry's without all the salt. That's basically what it is. Now she does have some I forget what the green stuff is. I think it's oregano in there that's in there. But that's my new, I haven't replaced Lowry's. Don't get me wrong, we still have some Lowry's too. But Lowry's is basically, it tells you that it's salt. It's seasoned salt. And we use it, I put some in my greens. I just don't put as much. And I put other things.
But some people use seasoned salt and table salt, and you shouldn't do that.
No, you pick one or the other. What's my other? Oh, I'll have it. But Mrs. Dash has the onion and herb one. It comes in a purple bottle. Now I have to order I'm gonna order some online. They sell them on Amazon because they actually come in they come in a size like this, but they just can't keep them in the stores over here. But all of these come in this size for Mrs. Dash. But I love them. You gotta try them. But just try what works for you. And like I said, don't be afraid. Be like the shit. People wonder why chefs, you see a chef, well, hey, he cooked this before. Why is he smelling it? I understand now why they smell it. It gives you an idea of how your food is gonna turn out. And what might be fitting for some stuff may not be fitting for some of the other dishes that you make. So that's all. Anything else? No? Okay.
Very good.
I was enjoying it. Oh, thank y'all so much for tuning in and stuff. Am I back over here now? All right. You have to give a person a cue or something.
Well, if I put this down, clearly I'm not still filming you with it.
Oh, my producer. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm
Good
enjoying
night.
it. Thank y'all so
We
much.
gotta let you go so you can eat.
Yes, your food can go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll see y'all Friday for bowling.
Yes.
Whether you're bowling
Yes.
or not. We hope
Yes.
to see everybody there. I couldn't remember. Elder City, did you talk to Elder Marshall?
No.
Well,
What? Oh,
we'll inbox you.
I need the address. Watson and what?
It's on that flyer that's on the church's page.
Okay, I have to look at it.
I updated Overseer's anniversary flyer and the address. is on it.
Okay,
And
okay.
so that's 6:30 Friday. I know some people been a little bit behind schedule. And then we have the lunch on Sunday at 1 o'clock.